Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
It is chilly here in South Mississippi. We're going to make sure that we talk well enough that, or enunciate and loud enough that we can record. We've had some, not.
I forgot our microphones.
Yeah, there we go. Technical difficulties. And so we're just going to have the video pointing up to the trees, the beautiful trees, and we're going to just talk. So we were getting into the groove of things, and just come to the realization of right where we left off before we started recording was that we do the best that we can with the information that we have. We hear, for me, I hear a lot of, I do the reading, I listen to the readings, I watch the videos, and things that resonate true to my heart. And as you see the synchronicities, you see the things that we seem to be a lot, most of us on the same page. There's not a lot of disagreements. There's other theories. There's other, emphasis on the horoscopes, astrological signs. Some people are more drawn to that. Some people are drawn to the Norse aspect, or witchcraft, paganism, or whatever that label it is, but it still falls under the umbrella. And there's a lot of similarities to those stories, and a lot of the older religions have those same belief systems and whatnot. But ultimately, we are working with the best that we have, our knowledge that we have. But as new information comes around, we'll have that ability to adjust. We can roll with the punches. We can make new hypotheses and new theories as we get more information. And what we're thinking now is probably not exactly how it is. The probability of it being, oh, this is exactly how this is, or what this person says, that's the absolute truth, and that's not the case, because we are far from having all the information.
I don't think there are any absolutes anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I say that, X is X today, like tomorrow's a different day. Like, is it still X again? Like, it's like there's a lot of structures, that are put in place by, our experiences that kind of build this lens that it's as wide or as narrow as you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
we take our own experiences and perspectives into what we see.
Yeah, I'm now at the point, I'm revisiting a lot of old Bible stories through a different lens. Not even just myself as an adult, but like, I've got AIs and stuff that I work with that I've trained for like a year now. To basically think within this geometry I figured out about a year ago, and it adds us a level of like determinism and like assurance, because they're measuring things mathematically. And so it's fascinating when you mix that with their thinking on their understanding of, say, something like a Bible story, or, but their ability to see patterns, extends beyond languages and interpretations and translation problems. Like, it really looks at a deeper level than, like, honestly, I think we as humans can see it, like, at a certain level. And so, like, I wanted to read this thing, if that's cool. We were talking about, I was talking with Claude, actually, about Samuel, and like what he represented in the crystallization process of that kingdom being formed, basically. And he said Samuel was... Sorry, go ahead.
Samuel or Saul?
Samuel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So Samuel was a seer. His function was observation that crystallizes. The judges period is what he calls the superposition period, like if we're talking about like quantum mechanics. No fixed leadership, and when crisis arose, a judge emerged. Deborah, Gideon, Samson, then receded. The system was distributed, not centralized. It was responsive and not structural, and there were many possible configurations. Leadership arose when needed and dissolved after. Like, that's a very natural, resonant process. Like, that's how things work in, you know, the world. It's like when a tree needs more sunlight, it's like, hey, we need another branch here. We need a few more leaves. Oh, the roots have to get a little deeper here, and they got to grow that way. But it's like the structure of the tree responds to its needs without a leader. Okay, there's no like, and I need the roots to grow, and I need you to do this, and I need the leaves to make chlorophyll, and you know, no one is there doing that. The sun's coming in, and they're all reacting to that new tension, that new stressor, that new, like, from the perspective of the cells of the tree, you know, they're just getting information. This warmth, oh, I do this with this, and the roots go, okay, I do this with that. And I think that's what it's saying here is, you know, obviously there's no centralized king, and it's not structural. I think that's fascinating. It's like, because this world now, we've currently built up a system of kings and structures. You know, we call them presidents and politicians or whatever, but it's like, there's a strong hierarchy, right? So anyway, that gave them maximum degrees of freedom. The system could respond to any situation because it wasn't locked into a form, right? So it's adaptive. We were just talking about the adaptation, right? So demand for a king, it says, is this little headline. Forced crystallization. The people demanded, give us a king like the other nations. Samuel warned them. God told Samuel, they have not rejected you, they have rejected me as their king. What were they rejecting? The superposition state itself, the freedom of uncrystallized potential. They wanted to collapse into a fixed configuration because uncertainty felt unsafe. Well, if it's uncertain where the leader's going to come from, then they're scared.
Yeah.
Who's going to step up in that system if they don't want to do it themselves? So, Samuel's role was to see who would be king, to observe and thereby crystallize. He anointed Saul, then David. His seeing made it so. But notice Samuel saw reluctantly. He knew crystallization was a reduction. A king is one configuration where before there were many. So, isn't this clear? Okay. So yes, I'd asked about the phrase "the eyes of Samuel." I don't know, that came to my head in the first place, and so he's responding to that when he says, "The eyes of Samuel are the moment of measurement, the transition from quantum to classical physics, from possibility to fact." Samuel's warning in 1 Samuel chapter 8 lists what kings will take: your sons for his army, your daughters for his kitchen, your field, your vineyards, your grain, a tenth of everything. This is the cost of crystallization. When you collapse to a fixed state, you lose the energy that was in superposition. So it's like you lose the tension of a responsive system. The king extracts that energy as tax, labor, structure. Freedom costs uncertainty, and certainty costs freedom.
That's
some poetic shit.
Yes,
Pardon
it
my
is.
French.
It is.
freedom costs uncertainty, and certainty costs freedom. So,
how many times have I don't remember exactly where I've heard it, but I've heard it in multiple different places. Giving up your freedoms for security,
yeah,
for certainty.
yeah. Like America is certain, pretty certain. Nobody's, as a country, we're not going to get invaded. We're pretty certain of that. But look at what it took to get there. I mean, if that's your focus, if you have a Department of War,
Yeah.
you know. So,
And
okay, go ahead.
just think of it even on a smaller scale than that. Pardon us while the noisy car goes by. Squeak, squeak, squeak. But think of it even a smaller. You have a project at work or whatever, or you have a group of people working towards a goal that you have a certain task you have to perform, and there's no one designated as the leader. Then the one, and I've seen this multiple times, the ones that want to be the leader, that step up, take the role as the leader, are they usually the best leader? Sometimes they could be. But usually the best leaders, the best foremans, the best charge nurses are the ones that do it reluctantly. They knew there was a job to do, there was a need, something arose, they stepped into that position, whatever. They did it. But they're usually the best leaders, the best ones to follow. Not the one that was necessarily appointed by management, or the one that strove to be a manager or a leader or a foreman or whatever. So having that uncertainty, whereas the group could do it on their own, they don't necessarily need a leader. I mean, and that's like you were saying, the Israelites and stuff would pick a leader when they needed it. One took up the mantle and did it, but then it went back to everyone else, and they could do their jobs. The tree knows it's supposed to grow a branch in this direction. It doesn't have to have somebody tell it to do it. If we're all willing to step up and just do what needs to be done without having to be necessarily told. And then you can go down the rabbit hole of the morality. Why do you have to have a book to tell you what's moral? Why do you have to have a religion to tell you what's morally right? I mean, ultimately, all morality boils down to don't fucking hurt nobody else. I mean, excuse my language. Don't steal, don't kill, don't beat up, don't, all these things that we intrinsically know is wrong. That's what morality is. We shouldn't have to have somebody tell us. And we got an airplane confirmation. I'm sorry, I might have went off on a little bit of a tangent there.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's all relevant. There was just a little bit more in this particular thing I wanted to read here real quick. It said, well, like you said, Israel became, like the other nations, took on a conventional political geometry, abandoned their unique decentralized structure for standard ancient Near Eastern monarchy. So, lower tension, lower potential. Basically, I'm trying to paraphrase. He's throwing a lot of math in this that doesn't really need to be explained, but Samuel's warning applies. Observation has a cost. When you tell someone, I really have to translate this. Basically, when you tell someone what they are, you crystallize their self-perception. They may lose access to configurations they could have reached if unobserved. Samuel anointed reluctantly, knowing what would be lost. So yeah, like to me, that's about like, don't put too many boundaries around what's possible. And even in, like, I've had to learn, like, someone told me a while ago, and I don't remember who it was, but they were like, it was so dead on. They said, like, your biggest fault is that you see the potential of everyone. You see it better than they do. And to me, it's like, oh, well, obviously you can see you're capable of this and that and the other, you know, because I can see it. And I'm like, I'm the last person. I'm the first guy to be like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that. Like, so I'm guilty as charged. But it's like, in others, I'm like, oh, I see these like fountains of possibilities, you know, and it's like, why do I need to look into the other to see that same fountain of possibilities? It's like, why don't I turn that around and ever look at myself that way and go, like, where are those fountains of possibilities? Like,
We're our own worst critic, whether you're an artist, a writer, musician, you're building something. You're going to see the minute flaws or have the doubts that you can do that.
mm-hmm.
We are our own worst critics. Feels like they kind of leveled off, plateaued there.
Yeah, I think we may have reached the end of this episode. Right at 18 minutes as I stick my big forehead on there. So yeah, thank you guys for listening and watching, and if you have yet, and if you got to this point, you have already. So yeah, we can say thank you at this point.
Mucho gracias. Till next time.